the National Bank Open in Toronto had fallen silent. The Philippine flags had been put away, the chance of Alex had faded, and Alex Eala's dream run had come to an abrupt end with a 6-4, 6-0 defeat to Olympic gold medalist Belinda Bencic. The 21-year-old Filipino was exhausted, battered, and still dealing with a right ankle that had been heavily taped just days earlier. But then came an unexpected meeting that could change everything. Rafael Nadal, the legendary tennis icon and mentor who has been connected to Eala since her early days at his academy, pulled her aside. And what he said next was far more than sympathy. Nadal delivered a powerful verdict about what Eala needed to do next, one that could ultimately define her comeback and the next chapter of her career. Alex Eala's journey to the round of 16 at the National Bank Open had been nothing short of extraordinary. Fresh off her historic WTA Tour title at the Washington Open, where she defeated world number 3 Jessica Pegula in the final, Eala arrived in Toronto carrying a 7-match winning streak and a career-high ranking of world number 20. She had already defeated 3 Grand Slam champions that season, taken down an Olympic gold medalist, and established herself as one of the most dangerous young players on the tour. She was playing some of the best tennis of her career, and the Filipino community in Toronto had turned Sobeys Stadium into a home away from home. Tournament director Carl Hale said Eala had generated more than 5,000 ticket sales, forcing organizers to move her match to center court. The stadium became a sea of Philippine flags, with chants of Alex echoing throughout the arena as thousands of fans rallied behind their hometown hero. Eala fed off that energy and looked determined to deliver for her country, but behind the celebration was an increasingly serious physical toll. She had played 8 matches in roughly 12 days, winning 7 of them in remarkable fashion. Then came the warning sign. During her second set battle against Katie McNally, Eala rolled her right ankle after landing awkwardly following a forehand. She immediately called for a medical timeout, and her ankle was heavily taped. Yet she refused to quit. She fought through the pain, eventually removed the tape during the third set, and completed a grueling 2-hour and 39-minute battle, winning 6-4 in the deciding set. The injury scare should have been a warning, but there was little time to recover. By the time Eala stepped onto the court against Belinda Bencic, the accumulated fatigue had finally caught up with her. The Swiss star, a Tokyo Olympic gold medalist, showed no mercy, controlling the match from the opening stages and refusing to give Eala any opportunity to regain momentum. After just 73 minutes, Eala's incredible Toronto run was over, 6-4, 6-0. The scoreline was brutal, but the story was far from finished. Because waiting beyond the defeat was Rafael Nadal, and the message he had for Eala could be more important than anything that happened on the scoreboard. The dream run was over. Alex Eala's 7-match winning streak had been snapped, leaving her battered, exhausted, and facing a painful question: had she pushed her body too far? After the defeat, Eala walked off the court to a standing ovation from the Toronto crowd, but the smile on her face couldn't hide the exhaustion. She had given everything she had, and on this night, it simply wasn't enough. After 8 matches in just 12 days, the physical toll had finally caught up with her. Eala admitted that she was as tired as she had ever been at that stage of a tournament, but she was also determined to bounce back. It was during this vulnerable moment that Rafael Nadal entered the picture. The legendary tennis figure, who had been closely connected to Eala since her early days at the Rafa Nadal Academy, had been watching her matches carefully. He had seen her battle through the ankle injury against Katie McNally, watched her struggle against Bencic, and understood exactly what her body had been through. Then he pulled her aside for a private conversation. The meeting was unexpected, as Eala had not been expecting to see Nadal in Toronto, but his presence quickly became a source of encouragement. The two sat down and talked about the tournament, her performance, her physical condition, and the injury scare. Nadal asked about her ankle, her fatigue, and perhaps most importantly, her mindset. Eala was honest. She acknowledged that both the injury and exhaustion had played a role, but she also made it clear that she was proud of what she had accomplished in Toronto. What Nadal said next was the part she needed to hear. He didn't dwell on the loss. He didn't criticize her performance. Instead, he praised her resilience, her fighting spirit, and her ability to keep competing when her body was telling her to stop. He reminded her that she had already accomplished things that most players spend an entire career chasing. The defeat, he explained, wasn't a failure, it was a learning experience. And then came the bold verdict: Alex Eala would come back stronger. Nadal's message was simple but powerful. This was not the end. It was the beginning of another chapter. He reminded her that every champion faces setbacks and that even the greatest players in tennis have suffered defeats that felt devastating in the moment. What separates them is not whether they lose, but how they respond afterward. Nadal pointed Eala back toward her own journey. Just weeks earlier, she had won her first WTA Tour title, defeated world number 3 Jessica Pegula, and proven that she belonged among the best players in the world. One difficult night in Toronto could not erase everything she had already accomplished. Nadal also addressed the injury directly, making it clear that the physical warning signs could not simply be ignored and that learning how to manage her body would be just as important as improving her tennis. The next stage of Eala's career would not only be about winning more matches, it would be about learning how to survive the demands of becoming an elite player. Nadal told Eala that he had watched her fight through the ankle scare against Katie McNally, seen her remove the tape, and then battle her way to victory despite the pain. To him, that was the mark of a champion. He reminded her that she had a strong team around her that would help her recover, and he urged her to trust the process, focus on healing, and return to the court with renewed determination. Eala later reflected on their conversation, crediting Nadal with helping her put the defeat into perspective. "I'm taking the lessons that I've had from these 2 weeks and hopefully implementing them even more in a better way in Cincinnati and New York," she said. His words appeared to reignite her belief in herself. Instead of dwelling on the loss, Eala was already looking ahead to the next challenge. Nadal's verdict was clear. The injury was not the end of her story. It was a temporary setback. The ankle would heal, the fatigue would eventually fade, and she would return to the court stronger and wiser. His confidence in her remained unwavering, and that message clearly resonated with the young star. Inspired by the conversation, Eala immediately shifted her focus toward recovery. She announced that she planned to take a short break before heading to the Cincinnati Open. "I definitely will take maybe 2 days off, a day or two. I do have to travel to Cincinnati. I need to get a haircut. I haven't gotten a haircut in a while. My nails are grown out," she said with a laugh. "I'll do a couple things just to get my mind off tennis." The decision to rest was a smart one. Eala had pushed her body to its limits. The ankle injury from the McNally match had not fully healed, and the demands of playing 8 matches in just 12 days had clearly taken their toll. Before the Cincinnati Open and the US Open, she needed time to recharge both physically and mentally. As she put it, "I got to enjoy the time that I have that I'm not on court." And despite the disappointing defeat in Toronto, Eala remained remarkably optimistic. Rather than viewing the past 2 weeks as a failure, she saw them as a major step forward. "I think I've played really well. I've gotten through so many obstacles," she said, recognizing that the experience had tested her physically, mentally, and emotionally, and ultimately given her lessons that could become crucial for the biggest tournaments still ahead. "I'm healthy, which is something I'm super grateful for," Eala said, showing that despite the disappointment in Toronto, she understood the bigger picture. She also revealed her plans for the tournaments ahead. She would be seeded in Cincinnati and receive a first round bye before turning her attention to the US Open with a fresh mindset and renewed focus. Her gratitude was genuine. She thanked her team, her fans, and everyone who had supported her throughout the demanding stretch, including Nadal, whose guidance had once again helped her see the bigger picture. "I have a great team who is going to help me recover, and I have high hopes for the rest of the tournament," she had said after the McNally match. Those hopes had not disappeared, they had simply been redirected. Nadal's words gave her the perspective she needed to move forward rather than look backward. Zoom out for a moment, and the meeting between Rafael Nadal and Alex Eala begins to look like a defining moment in the young star's career. Nadal had recognized her talent, her resilience, and her enormous potential. He had watched her overcome obstacles that could have broken a less experienced player, and instead of allowing one difficult defeat to define her, he reminded her that setbacks are part of every champion's journey. His verdict was bold but simple: this defeat was not the end. It was the beginning of something greater. Eala's journey to Toronto had already been remarkable. She had captured her first WTA Tour title in Washington, extended her winning streak to 7 matches, defeated elite opponents, climbed to a career-high world ranking, and then fought through injury and exhaustion to make another deep run. Toronto may have ended differently than she wanted, but it also gave her something victories alone cannot provide: experience. And with Nadal's message still fresh in her mind, Eala now had the opportunity to turn that experience into fuel for the next chapter. Alex Eala had fought through an ankle injury just to defeat Katie McNally, captivated an entire nation, and filled stadiums with thousands of passionate Filipino fans who had come to see their rising star. And despite the painful defeat to Belinda Bencic, there was absolutely nothing for Eala to be ashamed of. In fact, when the entire story is considered, her Toronto run becomes another important chapter in the rapid development of a player who is still only 21 years old. The injury timeline tells a clear story. Eala rolled her right ankle during the second set of her match against McNally, forcing her to call for a medical timeout while her ankle was heavily taped. Many players might have struggled to continue, but Eala refused to let the injury end her night. She fought through the pain, eventually removed the tape, and somehow found enough strength to win a grueling match. But the reality was that the ankle never had enough time to fully recover. Eala was already carrying the physical effects of the injury when she stepped onto the court against Bencic, and on top of that, she had played 8 matches in just 12 days. The fatigue had accumulated, her body was running low on energy, and against a player of Bencic's caliber, even the smallest limitation in movement can become a major problem. Tennis at this level demands explosive footwork, constant changes of direction, and the ability to react instantly, and when one ankle is compromised and the body is exhausted, the margin for error becomes incredibly small. That helps explain the brutal 6-4, 6-0 scoreline, but it does not diminish everything Eala accomplished before it. This is not the end of her story. Not even close. Alex Eala is just 21 years old, and she has already achieved more than many professional players accomplish over entire careers. She has climbed to world number 20, defeated multiple Grand Slam champions and Olympic gold medalists, won her first WTA Tour title, established herself as one of the most exciting young talents in women's tennis, and built a fan base powerful enough to transform tournament atmospheres wherever she goes. She also has something that cannot be measured by rankings or prize money: a team that believes in her, a mentor in Rafael Nadal who understands what it takes to reach the highest level, and an entire nation that continues to support her through every victory and every setback. The Cincinnati Open now awaits, followed by the US Open, and those tournaments represent new opportunities to take everything she learned in Toronto and turn it into something even greater. There will be more matches, more pressure, more difficult opponents, more victories, and inevitably more defeats. But every experience will add another layer to the player Eala is becoming. And perhaps that is why her own words after Toronto matter so much. "I'm looking back at these past 2 weeks as a really big positive. I think I've played really well. I've gotten through so many obstacles." Those words were more than a reflection on her recent results. They were a declaration of intent. Eala wasn't looking for excuses, and she wasn't allowing one loss to define her. She was choosing to focus on the growth, the lessons, the battles she survived, and the belief that she can continue improving. That mindset could ultimately become one of her greatest strengths. Alex Eala is a fighter. She has already shown that she can keep going when the odds are against her, compete through physical pain, handle enormous expectations, and perform in front of crowds that would overwhelm many players her age. She fought through the ankle injury, gave everything she had in Toronto, and when the final point was over, she walked off the court with her head held high. That is what makes her story so compelling. Champions are not created only by trophies and perfect records. They are created in the difficult moments, in the losses, the injuries, the exhaustion, the pressure, and the decisions to keep moving forward when stopping would be easier. Toronto gave Eala another one of those moments. The dream run ended, but the bigger journey continues. The tennis world is watching closely, and the future remains incredibly bright. Alex Eala is no longer simply a promising young player from the Philippines. She is becoming a global tennis star, a source of inspiration for millions of Filipino fans, and one of the most intriguing young names on the WTA Tour. Her story is still being written, and if the lessons from Toronto become fuel for what comes next, then this defeat could eventually be remembered not as the moment her run ended, but as the moment she learned how to take the next step. Cincinnati is next. New York is waiting. The spotlight is getting brighter. And Alex Eala is not done yet. If anything, the most exciting part of her journey may be just beginning. For more tennis coverage, breaking stories, match analysis, and the latest updates on Alex Eala's incredible rise, subscribe to the channel and turn on the notification bell so you don't miss what comes next.